Welcome back, dear sports family. I am so excited for today's episode. This has been an episode that's honestly been in my mind since I started this podcast. Today, I am with Lauren Briseño of Baylor Volleyball. Lauren is a junior starting libero for the Bears. She was named to the USA Volleyball Collegiate National Team this past June, where she went on to take gold in the Pan America Cup and in Mexico. Lauren received the 2022 Academic All-Big 12 second team, best defender of the Baylor Classic, and she also surpassed a career high of 200 digs last season and has added so many more since. Lauren, so happy you're here today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Guys, this is just like, we were talking before we started recording. This is just we lived together. We started this Baylor journey together.
Yes.
I'm just so excited. So first, talk about your recruiting process and how you got to Baylor.
Yes, so honestly, my recruiting, I mean, you know this too, like I feel like for us, just where volleyball was at the time, like we started the recruiting process so early, like since we were in 8th grade. It was bizarre. And so I knew I wanted to play college volleyball for such a long time since I started, and my older sister played volleyball.
Okay.
And I just really wanted to play volleyball. She wasn't as competitive as I was. I feel like being the youngest child, I was always finding the will to win in everything that I did. And so volleyball just took off, and I started my recruiting process when I was in 8th grade. I went to just some of the college camps that Baylor had like during the summer. I figured that was just kind of my way to personally get out there, talk to the coaches individually, and I felt that they really liked me, and I really liked Baylor. Just getting to see the campus was so amazing, and I think also just seeing the relationships that the players had with each other, I think is also something that us recruits loved, and I think we really admired it and wanted something to be a part of. And so I actually came back a year later, my freshman year of high school. I came back to another summer camp at Baylor, and same thing. I really liked it. And Coach Mack actually just was like, hey, like, we really like you. We want you to come here. We want you to pursue a career. And they offered me a roster spot. And I think that was something that it was a really big eye opener for me. I think just because Baylor was my first offer, and I feel like he really believed in me and made me feel like this is a dream that can definitely come true in pursuing a collegiate career in volleyball. And so Baylor was my first offer. I took it immediately and was like, I want to be a Bear, and I am just so glad that I chose Baylor.
Yeah, it was so fun. So we went on our unofficial together.
Yes, we did.
Which was like so funny because here we are now. We did not know at all like what was going on.
Right.
Like I'm like, oh, this girl named Lauren Briseño, like cool.
Yeah.
Don't know if I'll see her ever again.
Yeah.
And like we both went on that visit. Kind of same thing happened, and we were like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Coach Mack, he always talks about like he wants to be like a dream releaser, and I feel like he did that for both of us, and like just be able to like see that come to fruition here and to be teammates. And I mean, like you said, like the process started in 7th, 8th grade. Like it was wild. Thank goodness the rules have been changed now to where girls can't talk to, what is it? Is it sophomore, junior year now?
I believe it's junior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is so great because no one needs to be deciding where they're going to college in 8th grade.
No.
We didn't know.
We didn't know either. And it's just like, you know, I feel like Coach Mack just like really threw a ball at us because it's like, thank gosh, like we've grown into these amazing volleyball athletes. And like even Allie Check too, I think she committed like even younger than I was, which is so crazy to think about. And it's like, wow, thank God, like we've literally grown into these absolute studs. You know what I'm saying?
And to
like,
be so happy and like to stay here. Because I know like a lot of girls I played club with have like transferred or left or like gone to different schools just because you don't know what's going on at 8th grade and you don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, we love it here. It's so great. So you came in a semester early. We both came in a semester early. Graduating high school, how do you feel like that helped you? Would you do it again? What was your mind behind that entire process?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, I would 100% do it again. And I would really recommend any collegiate athlete that wants to take college athletics super seriously needs to do it. I think it was a really good step forward in my eyes. Just being able to step into the college volleyball game a semester early, I think really benefited me just with the overall speed and the speed of the game, because it's so much faster than club volleyball. And I think also just the intentionality behind it.
Yeah.
I think when you're playing club and when you are in high school, I think the idea is just like get recruited, like get into college, like to be good enough just to get into a Division I program. But once you hit college athletics, it's like, okay, now like flipping the script into how can I be intentional about where I'm passing, where I'm out of system setting, my serving. I don't think I've ever had so many intentional practices about serving.
Yeah.
And it's just so much of like, it can get a little overwhelming or like stressful, but it's the just identity in how you respond. And I think that's something that graduating early really benefited me as an athlete for sure.
For sure. And we came in at such a weird time too. I mean, honestly, it worked out because like we came in during that weird COVID season of when postseason was pushed to spring, and being able to train with athletes like Yas for another semester, and like Hannah Sedgwick, and like Presley Anderson, Chanel, like for that extra semester, just to watch them take that 2019 Baylor Volleyball and to like learn from them was just so helpful.
Yes.
And like coming to college, you're figuring out how to go to class, be on your own, cook for yourself, but let alone like you said of like, okay, I'm here now and I want to be good and I need to, like, you think you're good at volleyball when you're playing club, and then you get to college and you're like, oh shoot, the game is so much faster.
Yes.
These girls are so good. Like you're playing with like 22, 20-year-olds.
Yeah, you're playing with women.
Yes.
Yes.
They're
I'm a little
grown
girl.
Women. Yes. I do not belong here yet. But yeah, and then serving. Like your serve has changed so much from freshman year to now. And like I was like such positive ways. Like you're one of the best servers on our team now, and like just so intentional, and like the speed. And it's been, I don't know, so fun like just to see you grow in that area too. I'm like, look where we came from.
Yes.
Like look at the growth. But yeah, graduating a semester early, I would encourage other athletes to do it as well. It's scary at first because you're leaving high school and you're like, oh, like these are my friends. This is where I belong. But I feel like it helped us out a lot.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, like your high school friends aren't the ones who are getting you where you need to be.
No,
like you are in this world, you know, you have your great support system, but at the end of the day, like you need to put the work in yourself. Your friends aren't going to do it for you. So, and I think that's something that I would really encourage all like high school athletes that want to play college to do.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Okay, so for the people that don't know volleyball as well, we kind of want to use this to like educate people as well. So you're a libero. There's also a defensive specialist. You've played both at Baylor. What's the difference? Do you prefer one? What's libero? What's DS? Give us the whole spiel.
Okay, so basically the libero, just like the differences, obviously we were wearing the opposite color jersey. I get so many questions like, why do you not wear the same jersey? Well, okay, so I am the libero, and essentially what my role is to be the commander of the court. You know, I'm in there for 5.5 rotations. I'm in there for a good chunk of the time, just commanding, being a part of the offense, not just the defense, I think is also something that I just recently started thinking about. But just helping out my other defenders who are back there with me, like what the offense is doing also on the other side, so that way we can put ourselves in the best defensive situations to keep rallies alive. So obviously we are all over the floor. We're digging balls up left and right. And as a libero, just really using my voice and using it to help out the people next to me and serve receive, or also being the libero just adds in the component of out of system setting. So I have to be good with my hands too, and also running my own offense when Avery, our setter, is taking the first contact, making sure that I'm getting good out of systems to our big hitters like Ali Check and Kendall Stowers and, you know, Elise McGee. And so I think that's sort of another like little difference with being a libero and a DS. So obviously with a DS, you're only in there for 3 rotations. My freshman year, I was a DS. I got to play right back. And I think something that Coach Mack really made a good point that he said was, you're only in there for 3 rotations. So how are you going to make these 3 rotations the best 3 rotations of this lineup? So I think every time I went in there, I was having this mindset like, okay, like I'm going to be in for this amount of time, this short amount of time. but how can I make my team better in this short amount of time?
Yeah.
And I think with every defensive specialist that is only in there for so long, a short period of time, like that's how they need to think of it. Like you are a part of this team and you might not be the libero now, but you could be later. And I'm going to do whatever I can to will my team to victory.
Yeah, because like being able to play on both sides of that too, like freshman year, like who knows if we're gonna play and then you need to go play 3 rotations as DS, like kind of can be difficult too. If like you've been a libero your entire career and you're like, whoa, why am I not the libero now? I mean, obviously like Chanel Bramschreiber and she was just a stud and like owned that position, but to be able to like kind of take a step back into being that defensive specialist of like, okay, like I'm gonna be vocal in these 3 rotations. A little like volleyball rule is like when you're a DS, you don't have the jersey on, you can use your hands in front of the 10-foot line. And so that's kind of helpful too of like, hey, like look at me, like I'm setting, like, and it's a great offense for out of system balls, which is when like there's not a perfect pass to like the middle of the court and the ball is like pushed back to the corner or something like that. Just being able to like use your voice in those rotations. And then now being a libero, like that's your role. Like you're owning it, captain of the court. Like I love Lauren, but just being able to see her like growth from freshman year to now of like, she is like the coolest, like stone cold player. But when we win a rally, like the girl goes crazy.
Yes.
Like it's the facial expressions, it's the smile. Like we're always like, oh, Lauren's just like always so focused and like so dialed in and like so consistent. And that's what you need out of the libero in those moments of like, you need to be like the calm, cool energy, but also being able to like speak life into your teammates and like fire everybody up. And yeah, I mean, like I was a setter in high school and like now being like in our little like ninja group, so we call like the DS Liberos, it's so fun. And
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. But I think it's so cool of like being able to tell people like, okay, like this is what a libero is and like this is what a DS is. And like there are such big differences.
Absolutely. And I think like another big thing, like kind of also like reiterating, like just like the difference between like being dialed in and like being focused and like when you're getting a point, like that's like your moment to like really like celebrate your successes and celebrate the good things. And one thing that I think is like really, really cool is like when I had the opportunity to play at USA, like I was around so many amazing liberos that like are in my class or that are older than me, like Elena Scott, Elena Ogilvie at Stanford, Lexi Rodriguez at Nebraska. And like what's cool to see is that like the pattern is all the same. Like they are not this like raw type of player. Like everyone is so focused and calm when they're back there. And then we get a point like we're all like celebrating like crazy. And I think that's something that's really cool to look into like other liberos and their way of playing for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's talk about USA. You played with the USA team this summer. Like, what a cool experience. Tell us about like the tryout experience and then going to Mexico all summer.
Yes. So, oh my gosh, that was just, it makes me so happy and just like getting the opportunity to talk about just, but my experience there was amazing. Just being able to be around so many amazing athletes that are studs just around the country and also just being able to play with them and like they are now my teammate, they're not my opponent, and understanding how their mind thought process is like working and I can see like their wheels turning, and I think that was for sure really cool to see. But yeah, the tryout process was definitely the hardest part of the entire trip for sure, because you are competing for a week, maybe like 5 days, and everyone is just amazing. Like these are now your friends, and just getting to have those talks about their volleyball experiences like was so much fun. But the tryout itself was really hard. A lot of competing, a lot of healthy competition for sure. And then, you know, the roster came out and that was just such an amazing feeling just to see my name on there and realizing that I'm representing my country. And I not only like, because they gave us like the jerseys before. So like we all had a jersey, but now knowing that like I get to wear my jersey and compete in my jersey with, you know, representing USA was something that, you know, I've always dreamed about as a kid. And I didn't even know like that this is even like going to come true. And so like little Lauren would just like be so happy right now. But then like flying into Mexico was just so much fun, and just, you know, earning our gold medal and being able to step on the podium is just, it's something that you like never gets old. Like I could relive that day like 100 times if I could. And I think also just like realizing that, you know, you are in the moment, especially like when your national anthem is playing, you know,
Yeah.
like you're on the back line, you're getting ready to compete and your national anthem is playing, like we have our hand on our heart and like this is what we are here to do. Like we are Team USA and like we are here to represent our country.
Wow. Yeah. No, oh my gosh, like it was just so cool to like watch y'all go through that process because like Coach Walker was the
Yes.
assistant and then Allie was also there, Allie Chuck was there. And just being able to like watch y'all through the tryout process, hear all the updates, like to see y'all's name on the roster, I was like, oh my gosh, like they've made it. And then to see Coach Walker as an assistant, I was like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, like they're gonna have so much fun. And just seeing all the behind the scenes of like the pictures. And then it was kind of, I will say, it was kind of weird seeing y'all hang out with other girls. And I was
Yes.
like, those are my teammates.
Yes.
Like, don't talk to them.
Yes.
You know, because like obviously like I'm still competing with them. So like that's really cool to hear. Like, yeah, they're your teammates now. And like you get to like talk to all kinds of different liberos. And what's one thing that you feel like you learned about like volleyball in that training experience, but then also like about yourself and like how you see yourself going into your pro career?
Yeah. I think for me, just something I really learned about myself is just my ability to make friends fast and my ability to connect with these players super quickly and mainly on the court, but also off the court because it's like when you're on the court, like how do you build these connections when you just met this person?
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard, especially like with like seam serve receive stuff. I think that's like the main thing is just your communication and your ability of your natural leadership really steps in. And I think for me, just all of the times that I was able to step in the USA gym from spring break to then, I think really benefited me because it's like I was like, during spring break, that was my first time being with people and teammates that aren't my teammates at college. And so I think that was a really big eye-opener of just being a natural leader. So I think that was something really cool that I learned about myself. I think the first day I was like, I need to be better at my natural leadership. But obviously as the days went on, I thought it got a lot better and just like off the court, like really introducing myself and just like asking questions about where they're at like with volleyball and things like that because everyone was younger than me when I was at U21.
Okay.
And so I feel like for me, that was like a time where I was like, okay, like I'm kind of like the older girl here. Like how can I talk to these younger players and just really learn how to connect with them and where they're at with volleyball. So yeah, I think that was something really cool for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's just so cool to be able to say like, I don't know, like I'm like I played with someone that's on like did the USA team. Like that's just sick. And so it's just been so fun and like I was just like so proud of you and Allie of like representing us so well and like coming up with gold. Like that's sick. Like it's one thing to make the team, but then to like go win.
Yeah,
like, that's so awesome.
It was just so amazing. And like just like the next morning and like the flight home, like Josh, like Coach Walker literally wore his gold medal like on the airplane, like when we were going home. And we were like, what are you doing? And he's like, we just want to go with like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, like you're right. And like it was really fun because like it was hard. Like while we were in Mexico and like trying out, like that was our like at Baylor, like our summer break. So like I didn't really get a break, but the day we came home was like our one day and then the next day was our report day. And so like that day I was like, you know, like I'm going to use this time to rest. Like I got home pretty early, like in Waco. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm going to get in my car right now and drive 3 hours to San Antonio to surprise my family. And that was the best decision I think I ever made because I got out of my car wearing my gold medal and my plaque of like my best receiver award. And my brother and my parents are just running out, just sobbing. And I was like, it was such like a surreal moment. It was really just like the cherry on top of everything, like getting to see my family and see their reactions of how proud they are of me, I think was just something really amazing.
Ugh, I get chills. Ugh, I love your family. So you talked about how we're both old. We are now on the older side of the team, which is so wild to think about. Whew, yeah, we're upperclassmen and we don't have any seniors. So like we get to fill that role this year. What is something that you feel on teams previously that we've been on with like the 20, 20, 21, 22 teams that made them so successful? And how do you feel like we're being able to apply that to this team this year?
Yeah. I think for me, like kind of something that we were just talking about, like being here a semester early that we really benefited from just because we were with those older girls for like a year, you know, like we got to be there a semester and then in season with them. And I think something for me that really stood out with that older group of like all those fifth year seniors was just their maturity and their ability to adapt to so many different situations because they've had so many years and experiences of volleyball. They've seen a lot, and I think that was something that they really poured into our younger class was just, hey, like you need to be ready for everything. Like this is how you're going to train, this is what you're going to do. And I think that was something that was really well done is they set the standard and they made it very clear for our younger class. I think for me, like Callie Williams was just such an amazing role model because she really set the standard for me as a right back defender because she was like, this is how you're going to do it. This is what you're going to do. And this is how you're going to be successful. And I think that, you know, since our team now is so young, I think that we do a really good job of identifying that we are a younger team, but that's not going to be our identity. Like, what is the culture of Baylor going to be? And I think that's something that us junior class has done like a really good job and able to, I think it starts with identifying it first, for sure. Yeah. And I think we've done a good job of that. And upholding the standard with our younger class, for sure, I think we've been doing a really good job of.
Yeah, Callie Williams was like such a great example of that, of just seeing, one, her maturity, and two, of like, she was always so demanding of like in our gym, it's like we put this little box on the floor and it's like, get the ball to the cave. And if the ball was not in the cave, she let you know.
Yeah.
And I was oh, I don't like that. But then off the court, she was like, girl, I love you. Like, what's going on? How's freshman year? Like, was just so like motherly. And so it was really cool to see that of her like being this older senior and then having this freshman come in that's going to come play right back and not necessarily take her spot, but like a spot that she could maybe have. And for her just to be able to like mentor you and to hold on to that. And like, I feel like that's kind of our role now is to continue to like pour into these younger girls of like, hey, like, this is how Baylor Volleyball is. I'm going to be so hard on you in the gym, but like, I'm going to be your best friend outside of the court. And like, I now am so grateful for those experiences. In the time, I was like, whew, I don't know if I like this.
It's a gut check for sure.
It is, because you come off of being this like super good senior in high school, blah, 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 come to college, you kind of get rocked. And then now like we're into that role now, like owning that Baylor culture. And yeah, just, it's hard for sure. Like there's definitely good and bad days of like owning the culture. Like it's hard to keep the standard every single day, but
for sure,
being able to like see the benefit of it now so early in this season, and then also knowing like whenever we're not here, those girls will still be here, and like to see like the fruit of that as well,
for sure,
will be really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, love it.
Love it.
So you played at Cornerstone High School, which is like a Christian-based private school, correct? Coming to Baylor with the Christian aspects, is that something that you consider during the recruiting process? What part about that of Baylor has most surprised you?
I think for me, I am extremely grateful for going to a private school throughout my high school career. I think it really set me up for success just from the religion standpoint and helping me find my identity in Christ and understanding that I'm more than just an athlete. I think obviously like I had that foundation, which I am very grateful for Cornerstone setting me up that foundation. But I think at Baylor, just the relationships that are here with me now has really helped me push my identity in Christ. And I think that's something that like I want everyone to know, because like I literally can't thank you enough, because I literally remember like our freshman year, like we were sitting at the bank and I was like, I want to pursue my relationship with Christ, and you gave me this like calendar book that I still have today, and of just like what it has is like daily prompts and like daily messages throughout the entire year of like how I can basically just like fill my cup of Jesus every single day. And I'm very grateful for Baylor to help me with those relationships, because I think that if I wasn't at Baylor, I wouldn't be where I am with my relationship with Christ, and I'm so grateful for that. But I think with Cornerstone, they did a really good job of setting my foundation, and just also the athletic side of it, because Cornerstone is a very big athletic program within itself. And so I think it also really helped my competitive side start to build up and leading me into college. So college was a very easy transition as far as that side, because I was able to see like huge athletic programs and with a religious aspect. And so transitioning into college, where it's the same thing, like you're at like a huge athletic program, like Baylor Athletics is legit, it's no joke. And like you're also having like your relationship with Christ building, and it's something that is really cool for sure.
Yeah. And I think there's kind of like this stigma out there of like Christian athletes are soft. And I'm like, that's just not the case.
That is not the case.
Not the case at all. Like we work so hard of like being able to like have that foundation in high school, and then coming to a program like Baylor, and like specifically Baylor Volleyball, like with Coach Mack, which is like, he always says like our recruiting coordinator is like Christ, and like that's all like we're doing is serving him. And like he always like, God is our head coach, and like he just really throws his hands up to that. And like to see him just surrender our team and like our athletic abilities to the Lord, I'm like, whoa, like if he's able to do that, like I can be able to do that, and like still produce like good stats, good numbers, like still be athletic, and like still work hard, and like still be good, but also like to glorify God and like everything we say and do is just, it's just really cool to see like all blend together. And like
for sure,
at the end of the day, like you said, like not finding our identity in like being a young team, or like not finding your identity in athletics, like it's all going to go away one day. We're all going to be in heaven one day, and that's all that's going to matter.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like you said, like Coach Mack is like the perfect example of that. Like I think I am so blessed to be able to go into a gym and opening practice every single day with a prayer, and closing practice every single day with a prayer. I think it's something that it's not common at all. And I am so blessed to be where we are, where it is acceptable. And at the end of the day, like you said, because like yesterday, Coach Mack said like, God is our head coach, and God selected every single one of us to be where we are today at Baylor and to represent Baylor athletics. So it's really cool.
Yeah, he's the best. I let her go on and on about him.
Yes.
He's the best. Okay, so you have a tattoo on your arm.
I do.
And it's so awesome. I remember like coming, like first living with you, I'm like, we're like 17, like in college. Like I have no idea what's going on. Yeah. And I was like, shoot, this girl's tatted. Like she's gonna rock me. But then he told me the meaning behind it, and I was like, oh, yes, like we're gonna be great friends.
Yes.
So talk about your tattoo.
Okay, so basically, for those who don't know, I have a tattoo on my hand that says "Make It Count," and this tattoo is so important to me. I love when people ask me questions about it, because I could go on and on and on about it. So I have this tattoo for my father. I got it right before I went to college, and my dad is a cardiologist. So whenever I was at tournaments, he wasn't there a lot, but whenever he was, before every single time I served a ball, he would yell out, "Make it count." And I hold it so close to my heart, because you know, when we're playing volleyball, obviously, like, we're so focused. And for me as an athlete, like, I am so dialed in. I'm so focused. I block out all the noise in the gym. But when my father says, "Make it count" right before I serve, like, that is the only thing that I hear. Yeah. And he's been saying that since I was like 13 years old. And so when, maybe even before that, but right before I got to college, I had a conversation with my mom. I was like, I really want this tattoo. You know, like, this is like my, like, going away, basically. I'm going to be away from my parents for the first time, and I really want to get this tattoo. And she was like, okay, like, let's do it. And so I got the tattoo on my serving hand, and it says "Make It Count," and I surprised my father with it. And so I got home and I showed it to him, and he just immediately, like, tears. Like, I don't think I've seen my father cry harder. And he was just like, "I am so proud of you." Yeah. Like, it was just such a good, like, father-daughter moment for us, and just like our relationship. I look up to my dad so much. Like, he is the reason, like one of the reasons why I work so hard every single day. And so, yeah, to this day, whenever he comes to our games, he's always yelling out, "Make it count." So if you ever come to a game, I'm sure you've heard it before.
Oh, yeah. I always listen for it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, Oh,
Yes,
there it is. Okay,
there
we're
it
good
is.
to go.
Yes. And so, yeah, it's so special to me. And I think every single time, like a coach says, like to make something count, I think of my father every single time.
I love it. Yeah, it's such a good story. Like seriously, he says it every single
Every
time. And it can be so loud in that gym. Like when we're
Yes.
playing at Texas against Texas, I will literally hear it. I'm like,
Yes.
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 Yes, Mr. Briseño. You got it. He gets it.
Yes.
Okay. Going pro is obviously something that you're thinking about. It's so nice now that like we're in a point of our careers where like it's like women's sports just in general is like blowing up.
Yes.
There's some leagues coming to the US, which is kind of nice. What's like the dream? Like to go overseas, like to stay here, like what's the dream?
So for me right now is the end goal is to play professionally. That is something that I really want to do. And I think I've kind of created like the small milestones as I've been playing volleyball. Like obviously the goal is to get to college, be a D1 libero, and like I've pursued that. And so now I'm like 2 years ago I was like, wow, I really want to make a career out of this. And I think it's really cool to see like Yaciana and like Avery Skinner, like they're able to do it. And I was like, this is something that I really want to do. And I really want to play professionally. There are some US leagues that are popping up that is really cool to see, just like with the future of volleyball.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I think to make the dream really come true, I really want to go overseas
Do
just
it.
for a few seasons, just like
yeah.
see what life is like in Europe. I
Yeah.
think would be so cool.
Go live your Europe life.
Yes, I want to live a Europe life. I want to have a Europe summer.
Yes.
And so I want to be somewhere in Europe for sure. I think for me right now, France would be really cool. Now that I've gotten older, I'm starting to think about like locations and what the volleyball is like in those locations.
Yeah.
So I think places like France, Italy, Poland, I've been really thinking about lately. I think would be really, really cool. And so, but the dream for sure would be to win a gold medal and to be able to represent Team USA again, and just being able to compete in the Olympics is a really big dream of mine for sure.
Yeah. And like I don't think people realize like as a DS libero, yes, it's hard in any position, but as a DS libero, it's like 10 times harder to go pro and to make like the USA teams. Like for some reason, I don't know, I'm a volleyball player and I still don't get it, but like just it's liberos and DSs are not given as many opportunities through the recruiting process. Like you just don't get offers as much. Going pro, you don't get offers as much. Like it's just kind of what it is. And so like you're on the path. And like it's so exciting to see, and like you're already hitting all these milestones, and it's really encouraging to see players like Avery Skinner, and then like liberos that you've talked to this past summer of like their journey and like how they've done it, and like how they've gotten those different steps. But like it's so hard. It's such a grind.
Absolutely. And I think also just like when you're getting to the professional level, like you're getting paid less. Like now you have to think of like that. Like like as liberos, like you have to find a contract. How much you're getting paid, like you're getting paid significantly less than the outsides and like the setters and like the middle blockers. And like, yes, it's hard, but like this is what I'm signing up for, and like this is what I want to do. Like I love volleyball so much that like I like literally don't care. But yeah, like it was really cool to see Avery Skinner just like while I was at the USA gym, like throughout the summer, like she was there, and like we grabbed like lunch a few times, and like she genuinely is just the best mentor any volleyball player could ever have. Just pouring so much into me, and just like even like how much she like admires me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I look up to you so much. And she's like, Lauren, like you're one of the best freshmen like I have ever played with. And like to hear her say that is just so meaningful and impactful for me as a volleyball player. And I think I would really encourage any volleyball player who wants to pursue a professional career, just find those mentors. And I got to talk to Morgan Hentz like while I was there, which is insane. Like I would have never have thought of that. And she's like telling me like, if you ever need anything, like reach out to me. Like I will give you my number. I would love to mentor you, and just being able to talk to you. And it's just so crazy because she's like literally one of the greatest of all time.
We watched her when we were like 8.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want to be her. Yes.
Oh, that's just so awesome. Okay, kind of like some more fun questions. What's your favorite game day hairstyle? we've as a team, we've been rocking the slick backs. I can never do it as well as you can. It's just a thing. Like, what's your favorite game day hairstyle?
Okay, so for me, I think now consistently, obviously, I'm rocking the slick back. Sophomore year, I was kind of like, ooh, it's a little too much slick back. I feel like I'm trying too hard. But now I am obsessed with it and I don't want to do anything else. So I'm basically just slicking back my hair into like a low medium ponytail. And lately I've been using TIY hair ties, which is basically like a strand and that you loop all into one hair tie. So it's basically like 4 hair ties in one, and it holds your hair so well. So, but I've been using 2 of those in my hair. So my hair is slick and tight, and my hair just looks like a horsetail, which I love. And then obviously I have to have my bow in my hair. I've been playing with a bow in my hair since I was like 15. So as long as the bow is in my head, I'm all good.
I love it. Yeah, I remember coming to college and we were like living together and I was like, oh, like I'm gonna run to the store, blah, blah. And Lauren's like, I gotta go to Michael's. And I was like, what? I was like, you're gonna do a craft? Like, what in the world? She's like, no, I gotta get my ribbon. I was like, what? She's like, I gotta do my bows. I was like, oh, yes, so sorry. Let's run to Michael's on the way to HEB. But what people don't know is sometimes in our slickbacks, we've been putting hair oil or putting hair mask. Like, we're getting the 2-for-1 treatments. Like, we are doing all the things.
We're doing the most, really. I know. Sometimes, like, when we have our slick back, like, we have our rosemary oil in our hair to help with hair growth. So it's really like a 2-in-1 combo. So yeah, as long as it's slick back, like, we're good.
Hey, I'm like, it's slick back, tight, out of my face. Take an Advil if it hurts.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always tell Emily, like our trainer, I'm like, can I have an Advil right now for my future headache? Because I know I'm gonna get one. So let me just take one right now.
Yes. Oh, I love it. With TIYs, you've been able to take advantage of some NIL. You have a code. NIL is like obviously blowing up. It's everywhere. Talk about some things you've been able to take advantage of, like through volleyball. A little slight plug for you.
Yes. Okay, so recently I'm super excited about this one. So I have been just talking back and forth with a US league. So their name is League One Volleyball. So it's spelled LOVB, but it's pronounced love. And so basically what League One Volleyball is doing is they have their US league that players are able to compete with, which is super amazing, like part of what the volleyball world is going into and just like the future of volleyball, but also just the connection and the relationship aspect with club volleyball players who are so young, and collegiate athletes now get the opportunity with NIL to be a part of League One Volleyball to help mentor these younger athletes, which I think is something that is like really, really cool, because like as a club player when I was younger, like I didn't really have that to help have college athletes mentor me and just talk to me about what life is like. And so League One Volleyball is pursuing just like a good connection and foundation of what volleyball is like after college as well. So it's also kind of just like this whole like circle moment of like club athletes and collegiate athletes, professional athletes, like all like basically wound up into one. And I think it's something that is like really cool, like for the future of volleyball, because it's something that like we didn't have like when we were growing up. And so I think that this is a way to just really connect with the younger audience and the older audience, because you know, some of the US national team players have signed with League One Volleyball, and this is something that I really want to be a part of to push the future of volleyball for sure.
Yeah, it's so cool to see like just like the volleyball world is truly so small. You know, like it seems so big and there's players everywhere, but like being able to like make those tiny connections here or there. And like if I was in high school and a girl reached out to me, that was, oh my gosh, like if a Baylor volleyball player would have reached out to 8-year-old Faith, like I would have lost it. Like, oh my gosh, it's just so cool to like take NIL. Like, yes, it can be like this scary, weird thing that a lot of people are like blowing out of proportion, but like then there's opportunities like that where you're able to like mentor younger girls. And I mean, just women's sports is blowing up, but like we were on ESPN last weekend, like on Sunday, like such a cool time just to like pour into it, find resources, like make the volleyball world just so much smaller. It's just, I don't know. I love it. It's so fun to be like, yeah, we're on ESPN. We're not on ESPN Plus on some like random network you can't find anywhere. Like, we're making moves, people. Okay, so anyone that comes on, I always put like little questions up that people can ask. And so Ashley Hodge, one of our owners, asked, you throw your body around to keep possessions alive. How do you get treatment after games? What steps do you take care of your body's health? I kind of giggled when I saw this question because I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, it's so true.
Yes, it's a tough life being a libero because we are throwing our body around so much. And I think like for us as liberos, like just being ready for our bodies to do anything it can imagine because we have to be extremely flexible. We don't know where the ball is going. And I think for me, that's a really good question because our treatment plan is so much different than an outside hitter or like a middle blocker.
Mhm.
So for me, it's a lot of lower body stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not using a lot of upper body other than serving. But I'm cold tubbing a lot because of my hips, my thighs, my knees. We were in Washington State, my calves were cramping, and so it's like your calves. So constant ice baths are crucial. And then something that a lot of people don't know is I have hyperextension overload in my elbow.
Yeah.
So whenever I take balls with my right hand, just like the constant like compact of like the ball hitting my arm kind of like hyperextends my elbow. So it's a little painful, but I'm here. And Emily does a lot of dry needling. So I love, like we as athletes, like love the dry needling and it helps so much. So I think that's something that's really important. But yeah, a lot of ice baths.
A lot of ice baths. Yeah, you put your body through it. Like it's the bruises and like it's just so fun to watch you play because it's like, okay, yeah, she's going for a ball and it's like, oh shoot, it's over her head, and it's like arm up, like Lauren's body's in the air. I'm like, oh, okay, that's gonna get up now. Like you just extend so many rallies for us, and I'm like, I just watch you fall. I'm like, that's gonna hurt. Like Monday morning practice is gonna be a little slower.
Oh yeah, for sure. There are definitely some conversations with Coach Mac. I'm like, I might need a little break. Like my body's going through it right now.
We just need to take a sec. Okay, so everyone that comes on my podcast gets to answer this question. If you could write a letter to sports, what would you say and why?
I think I would say, dear sports, thank you for just helping me find my identity in Christ, helping me pursue relationships that I didn't know I would have. Thank you for just allowing me to love myself and just love who I am as a person and love like my body and my mindset, my mental health, and helping me find so many different resources that I just didn't know I would have. So that's what I would say.
Yay. Thanks so much for coming on today. This was so fun.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Yay. Thank you for watching this last episode of Dear Sports. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. Make sure to stay updated on everything on Instagram, Twitter, all the things, Spotify. Our link tree is in the bio, so click on it and it'll take you to the next episode. This is Faith Lynch with Dear Sports.